Thank you for taking the time to meet with me today and participate in this interview. The aim of the interview is to determine how clients' and users' expectations are managed in an agile IT project, such as the Exams for Doctors website project. Please feel free at any point to withdraw from the interview or to say no comment to any particular question if you feel so. At the end of the interview, there will be an opportunity to go through the video and make any additional comments if you wish. This is to ensure that conclusions drawn are as valid as possible. So are you happy for the interview to begin?
Very, yeah, no problem. My name's Simon Drohan. I'm the coordinator for the project, really. The Exams for Doctors project is a response to a request from a surgeon and his wife, actually, who are both doctors, that I know very well, to try to develop a system that will help trainee doctors continue their professional development. So Exams for Doctors is intended to be an online resource where medical professionals can take practice exams, for example, and both of these individuals are involved in both their practical career within the NHS and private work, but they're also looking to develop their independent business interests because around education. Both of them are heavily involved in the continuing professional development process, both as participants and indeed contributors to that process at the University of Liverpool Medical School. So this is a response to their desire to get more involved in finding methods of delivery of training media to help doctors in the development of their professional careers. It is. I'm familiar with CPD from my own business interests, but so I've got some concept of how this might be able to be structured in a broad sense. But from a medical point of view, no, I'm not a doctor. I don't have any medical experience at all. I do have some project management experience, and I do have some business experience, and I think that's why I've been asked to get involved in this project. And indeed, it is why I asked the university to get involved in the project as well. That's a good question. Chris has come to me and said, could you help me deliver this project? My role, as I see it, is to try to coordinate the people with the relevant skill set to deliver a successful outcome. What I've chosen to do is because it's a what's the right word? It's very much a development sort of process. It lends itself ideally to being a sort of university project. I've got some experience of running one of these before, and I think that's why Chris asked me to get involved. In terms of my ability to influence, obviously my medical knowledge is zero, so I'm not able to write and develop the actual data that's going to sit within this database that's going to be delivered to the content that's going to be delivered to the students at all. I can't get involved in that because I don't possess the knowledge. What I can do and what I aim to do is to bring the right resources together, encourage the doctors to do their bit to generate the content, encourage the students to do their bit to get the platform established, and then once we've got a trial system sorted out, then start to look at some of the commercial aspects and see how we can actually commercialise this and actually start it generating some sort of revenue. That's my role. Within the project, I suppose I'm the project manager overall, but I don't. The way that the project is structured is that it's obviously very much an academic project from your point of view, and from our point of view, there are some potential commercial aspects to it. I don't feel as though I'm anybody's boss, I suppose, is the question. I'm trying to consult with you. You're trying to, I suppose, give me the benefit of your acumen and knowledge so that we can apply that. And then what we're doing is we're going to people like Amir to use his skill set to give us advice on how to best structure the site from perhaps a search engine management point of view, or search engine optimisation. We've got Fatima on board as well, who's doing some interesting work. So what we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, is to perhaps actually ask for guidance from yourselves. Really, that's how very much how I feel in terms of how the project's working. All I'm trying to do really is to coordinate.
Yeah. So would you say then we're not team members in a sense? We're actually all consultants, just a group of consultants.
I would say so. I would. That's very much how it feels, and I hope it feels like that from your point of view as well. But that's certainly how it feels to me.
Do you think Chris is within that sort of circle of consultants, or do you think has the ideas sort of thing?
Well, Chris has had the idea. Yeah. Chris came to me with the idea and said, "How can I do this?" And I said, "Well, there's several different ways we could do it. We could treat it as a completely commercial enterprise, and we could go to the market and try and with a brief that says this is what we're actually trying to do. One, there was a cost barrier straight away to that because it would be financially it wouldn't have made the project possible at all. Two, there was a problem because in terms of being able to write a brief, technically, whilst I have the if you like the commercial and the knowledge to describe how the business might work, how the database might function, it would be stupid for somebody like me to try and describe that. My knowledge about that sort of technology is very old, so it was a natural sort of point of call, knowing Peter at the university and knowing that he'd got access to people who were at the forefront of sort of database development management. It was really a no-brainer really for me to ask them to get involved in it. Well, Chris is very realistic. He is an extremely busy guy because he's a surgeon. He's on a career path at the moment. He's got a young family, so his time is extremely precious to him because he has a very, very busy life, a number of hours that he has to be at work every week, and then with family commitments. What he sees is the opportunity to develop something beyond his basic career and deploy his knowledge through a system such as this. I've lost my train of thought, and because I'm aware that Emma's about to walk through the door.
So would you like to add anything extra to that question?
Just to finish, really, what I was saying about Chris and his expectations. We spoke about how busy he is as an individual, and so as a result of that, we have to be very realistic about what we can and can't achieve within perhaps the time frame that we've set. Chris has got a tremendous amount of content to generate within this project, and he's only got a limited amount of time. So we're actually allowing him to dictate the progress that if you like the intellectual elements of the project will contain. So I think because we've made it a student project, because it's the nature of the exercise, we don't have a hard and fast programme. We're trying to go as quickly as we all can within the reality of everything else that we've got going on.
So is that because the nature of the project, because it's quite new from your point of view, and Chris's, obviously, for this type of venture, do you think that dictates the project more than the management style that's been put in place?
We're all doing this, as well as doing lots of other things. I'm involved in other business activities. Chris is involved in his career. As students, you've got other commitments to your learning and so on. So we recognise that fully within this, and within that, we're trying to keep a realistic view of time. Equally, my job is to try and make sure that we get some things delivered within a realistic time frame. And I think we've done that. Certainly from the database side of it, we've got to a point where we've got something tangible now, and it now needs feeding with populating with some data, and we need to get it hosted and online. So I think we've made some great progress. But motivations, really. What motivates me with a project such as this is that it's completely different to anything that I've ever done before, but it also has certain elements which are similar to things I've done before. So I'm interested in getting involved because when I was asked I knew it was an internet database sort of project. So when I was asked about how we would deliver it, I'd already got an idea of the route to getting the ball rolling. I talking to Peter and asking if the university were interested in joining in. So that was good. In terms of further motivation, I like to influence projects that are ultimately successful. So if we can create something here that allows, there's a lot of win-wins in this. There's a vehicle for perhaps somebody such as yourself and Amir and Fatima to use as a real life working example of a project that needs to be developed rapidly and in this sort of agile manner. So there's an opportunity to do something for somebody else from a student project point of view. There's an opportunity to work with Peter again, which I've done before, and I was quite excited about doing that. There's an opportunity, obviously, to create a new business ultimately, and that's something that we're obviously really interested in if it can succeed. Out of that, what are the benefits? Well, you look at the system and what it can do if we become part of a group of people who are helping doctors to improve their career path and improve their knowledge, become better doctors ultimately. Then we're doing something good for humanity, and that's pretty cool. So there's some really interesting sort of reasons for being motivated to join in with a project such as this. And if we can make a business out of it, and we can employ some people, and we can get into it, that's fantastic. That's what being in business is all about.
So there is a long-term plan. This is almost seen as like a prototype stage.
This is a prototype, really, to see if we can actually create something that will work commercially. And if it does, then we'll be in a position to grow a commercial business from these foundations. That's the goal. No, I think, well, from my point of view, it was kind of what I was expecting by asking the question of Peter. I knew that having in a previous business, maybe going back 8 or 9 years ago, I worked with Peter's department. We had an online database project to do with an industrial project. And that was done in very much a similar way. I didn't understand database technology. What I did understand was what I wanted to achieve from an industrial perspective. So Peter put some students in front of me to talk to me about the nature of the project. We've finally met one that was really one, highly motivated, and two, could take the commercial, if you like, and the industrial parameters that we were trying to work with and turn that into a meaningful system. And that was done on the fly, if you like. It wasn't done by me writing down a specification in great detail, because it becomes very difficult from a commercial point of view, to actually get your thoughts into a structure that somebody in your position can clearly interpret and understand. It's important, I think, for you to come to us and live and breathe our world, and for us to try and interpret and understand your world, so that we can get the best marriage of those two elements and create then something that actually really fits the bill. And I don't see that in this day and age there's any other way to do it, other than we could spend a lot of time developing a specification, by which time, by the time you finish that process, it's almost out of date because the technology has moved on. And so there are new things coming forward all the time, so we can apply this new bit of software to this application. And if we decide to make decisions about that 12, 18, 24 months ago, it wouldn't necessarily be able to do that, whereas this way it allows you to harness the best of current thinking and also meet the brief. I think that's that.
Yeah.
Sum it up anyway.
And I think also you just mentioned living and breathing and sort of and understanding the roles. So I guess that's probably a strength as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris.
Well, we've got Chris, who's obviously he's a very bright and motivated individual by definition, but he's also got a mind that can quickly, when you're talking about issues and Amir's talking about issues he can quickly grasp those what they are and deliver a response that makes sense from he can think it in those terms, and equally when we're sitting at the table, when we're talking about what it is we're trying to do, the best example I can think of recently is when we were talking about the delivery of perhaps pictures and things through the database. you would contribute, because we got no idea how we were going to do that within a means that we keep the pictures at a reasonable size and so on. And you just can see the solution to that. So it's a win-win in that sense. We're telling you what we need to do, and you're saying, well, this is the best way to do it, and this is the most efficient way, and indeed it's going to make for the best user experience. Because that's the other thing that we've got to think about in all this, is not just what we're trying to do, but what happens when the person who's actually going to interact with this really, the student doctors who are going to sit there and actually see this thing. And it's about us all meeting and talking about these issues in a way that has that in mind, and I think this process lends itself to that completely. By definition, each time each meeting, we end up putting ourselves in the position of the user, and we're saying what we want them to see, and you're saying how the best way we can get them to see it. Really. And I think that's what we seem to be achieving that so far. Well, no, because ideas are changing as well as we go down the process. Our understanding of what technology can do and how we can apply it is growing, and that's something that is like a byproduct of this process, as I see it. We're becoming educated as to what technology can do for us, if you like, by you guys, which is not something that we would necessarily be able to see or have any view of if we worked in a more sort of top-down way, where we were saying, this is what we want to deliver. There's no, it's totally black and white. Here's a structure, just get on with it. You could come and deliver that, and we said, actually, that's not what we wanted. And that everybody's lost really. At that point.
It's a two-way thing, because then we're understanding the requirements even more.
Absolutely.
And Chris and yourself probably is also understanding what we can do.
That's exactly it. Exactly it. That's the way I see this process. The value in this process. That's it. I think more. I'm more of a listener in this field, and what I have to do is, whilst I can be very clear about what it is that we're trying to achieve, what I must do is listen to Chris and listen to what he wants to achieve, and listen to you about what you can do, and just encourage decisions to be taken mutually, rather than say, be the sort of chap who's banging the fist on the table and saying, no, we've got to do it this way at all, because it's really about extracting value from everybody's expertise in order to deliver something really, really successful. So my role is to try to listen and hear and then understand, and that's my job, which sometimes is quite tricky because I'm getting old. If you think about the way, I suppose, from our point of view, harnessing the power of the web and for a project delivery, we've got loads of vision, we've got loads of ideas of how we could have this system perhaps downloaded onto tablet devices, onto smartphones, so that doctors can practice groups of questions on the fly and all this sort of thing. What we need to do is to make sure that we don't restrict the system and build something that's completely rigid, that doesn't then have in its own sort of technically the agility to be modified, so that we can deliver some of these solutions down the line. So what we've got to do is listen to you and say, look, these are some of the things that we're thinking about now, which is a bit woolly, we're not quite sure how we're going to do it yet, and you might say, well, I'm not sure how we're going to quite do it yet, but if we use this platform, all we know is that when it comes to getting to that stage of the project, we know that the data is going to be presented in such a way that that's going to be fairly easy, because and by then there'll be there might be another set of tools available to developers to make it even easier. But as long as we've gone down a road that says we've used the best available structure now, then from a business point of view and from a project point of view, what we must do is to build in some latency for the so that we've got a legacy for the future, that we can just slice and dice data and present it across any platform. But if we don't listen to the advice by starting with that goal in mind, then we'd be foolish. So that's predominantly the main reason for getting involved as an academic institution, because you're studying stuff now that's pretty much at the forefront, and Sheffield Hallam's got a great reputation in that account. So it's a very good position for us, and hopefully it's a good position for you. So that's really where we're coming from. Well, at the moment it's a difficult stage to ask that question in the sense that we haven't really got any users as such. We're just at the point where we're about to actually pop the thing online, and we'll become the first user group to start to try and influence and go through that. It'll be important, I think, then once we've got a reasonable database to put that in front of 2 or 3 different groups of people who perhaps have used other systems to get their feedback and comments about their experience. Because within this, what we're looking to do is develop something that's cleaner and tidier than any of the other things that might be out there now. And then we'll have to take that user feedback and deal with it as we see fit when that moment arrives. So they're very much going to be part of the process. Can't be that part of the process yet because they haven't got something that they can use. But as soon as they are, then we'll. And hopefully, Chris Bush have got lots of doctor friends who'll be willing to just have a look at it over half an hour and give us some feedback. It becomes a commercial venture. Obviously, your users are your customers, and clearly, if we don't get it right, we won't get any customers. And if we don't listen to our customers, we won't get a future out of it. So, from that point of view, customer feedback and building in a mechanism for meaningful customer feedback that can then be responded to will be absolutely critical to the success of any business that sits behind this. This definitely, it's certainly from a cultural point of view. I don't see customers as being independent of the business in that sense. They're very much part of it. So users are within the boundaries of this system. There's in fact the most valid group of people to listen to. So the acid test will come for us if as long as we've given you the right brief and we've put the right quality of information into it. Will the users like it? That's going to be the moment of truth for all of us, I think.
Okay, I think that's all the questions.
Right.
Unless you have anything else that you'd like to add.
No, I mean, I don't know where this is going to get used and how it's going to be presented, but I just obviously thank you very much for your time and enthusiasm getting involved in the project.
Thank you.
It's been really enjoyable, and I look forward to continuing.
Excellent.
All right. A chap called Mohammed. He did a similar thing when he was doing his dissertation. He gave me a series of interviews and really put me through it. But it helps me. To be fair, I find that helps me clarify my thinking about the project as well. So I think you have some great questions, and happy to answer.
Excellent.
All right.